I remember that night like it was yesterday. My wife, Emily, had been buzzing around the house all week, insisting everything had to be perfect. Her family was coming over for a big dinner, her parents, her brother, his wife, and a couple of cousins. She wanted the house spotless, the food elaborate, the table beautifully set. She said it wasn't just a dinner, it was family tradition. I didn't mind. I'd always been the type to help out. I chopped vegetables, set out the cutlery, and even vacuumed the living room twice. Emily seemed stressed, but I thought it was just the usual pressure of hosting her family. Still something about her tone, her sharpness, the way she snapped whenever I did something slightly wrong. It gnawed at me. By the time her family started arriving, the house smelled of roasted chicken, baked potatoes, and garlic bread. Everyone was cheerful, hugs were exchanged, and laughter filled the air. Emily's parents complimented the decorations, and her cousins teased each other as they sipped wine. Everything seemed perfect until she leaned toward me and whispered, "Can you grab a few extra chairs from the garage? We don't have enough at the table." Of course, I said. It was such a simple task. Grab chairs, bring them inside, nothing unusual. But that trip to the garage changed everything I thought I knew about my wife and about my marriage. I opened the garage door, flicked on the light, and stepped inside. At first, I was just scanning for the stack of foldable chairs, but then I noticed something strange. There was a large, neatly stacked pile of boxes against the far wall, half covered with a tarp. That wasn't unusual. Emily loved organizing things. What caught my eye, though, was a bag sitting on top of the boxes. A bag I had never seen before. Curiosity got the better of me. I walked over, pulled it closer, and opened it. Inside were dozens of envelopes, bank statements, credit card bills, receipts. My name wasn't on a single one. They were all in Emily's name, and the amounts were staggering. Thousands spent on hotels, expensive restaurants, clothing boutiques. In parts of the city we never visited together. My chest tightened. I told myself it could be work expenses, maybe gifts for family. But then I saw one receipt, 2 glasses of wine, a hotel suite, and a romantic package for 2. My hands trembled. My wife had been living a double life right under my nose. Was about to shove everything back when I noticed something else. 2 wine glasses sitting on the workbench. One had clear smudges of red lipstick. My blood ran cold. Someone had been in our garage recently. This wasn't just about hidden bank statements. I froze when I heard a faint sound of vibration. It was coming from a drawer beneath the workbench. I opened it, and inside was a phone. Not Emily's regular phone, a second phone. The screen lit up as a text came through. "Can't wait until they leave tonight. Same place as last week." My knees felt weak. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was planning to meet her lover right after her family's dinner. I stood there in the garage, chair in one hand, the other gripping that phone like it was a weapon. 1,000 thoughts raced through my head. Should I storm inside and confront her in front of her entire family? Should I wait, gather more evidence, destroy her quietly? Or should I pretend nothing happened and let her dig her own grave? I chose patience. I carried the chairs back into the dining room with a smile plastered on my face. Emily looked at me briefly, almost nervously, then went back to serving plates. I noticed how often she checked her watch, how distracted she seemed even while laughing at her father's jokes. Throughout dinner, I played the role of the perfect husband. I poured wine, made small talk, and even cracked a few jokes that got the table laughing. Meanwhile, inside I was burning. Every glance at Emily felt like a dagger. Every laugh of hers sounded like a lie. After dessert, Emily began gathering dishes. Her family offered to help, but she insisted she could handle it. Then she leaned toward me and whispered, "Once everyone leaves, I'm heading out for a bit. Just some errands. At nearly 10 p.m., I nodded calmly, but inside, I was already crafting my revenge. That night, after her family left and Emily changed clothes, I watched her sneak her second phone into her purse. She thought I was oblivious. She kissed me lightly on the cheek, said she'd be back in a couple of hours, and hurried out the door. What she didn't know was that I had already installed a tracking app onto that phone while I was in the garage. Within minutes, I watched her little dot move across the city, heading straight to the same hotel listed on her receipts. I followed. When I arrived, I parked across the street and waited. I saw her walk into the hotel lobby, smiling, her pace quick with anticipation. Minutes later, another man joined her. He was tall, well-dressed, and had his arm around her waist as they walked together into the elevator dot that was the final nail in the coffin, but I didn't storm inside. Not yet. Instead, I pulled out my own phone and began snapping photos. Emily and her lover entering the hotel. Emily checking in with him. Both of them disappearing into the elevator together. I had everything I needed. Over the next few weeks, I quietly prepared. I hired a lawyer, gathered financial records, and made copies of everything I had found in the garage. While Emily thought she was being clever, sneaking out for late-night errands, I was building my case. The day I finally confronted her wasn't in the heat of the moment. It was in court. She had no idea I had filed for divorce until the papers were served. Her face when she realized I knew everything, the hotel stays, the money she had drained from our accounts, the secret phone was priceless. She tried to plead, to beg for forgiveness, but it was too late. Even better, thanks to the financial evidence I had gathered, I was awarded the house. The very house she thought she'd take from me, and the best part? Her family, the very people she tried so hard to impress, were sitting in the courtroom when everything came to light. Their perfect daughter exposed for what she truly was. I lost my wife that night in the garage. But in reality, I gained something much greater: freedom, truth, and the last laugh, because in the end, all it took was a simple trip to the garage to reveal the secrets that destroyed her life, not mine.